Hey guys, Cbro here, and today we're going to have a look at the Brawl composition in a little bit more detail. In the last video in the series, we had a look at Brawl, Spam and Dive briefly, so if you don't know what any of those words mean, then have a look at that video. There should be a card in the top somewhere, but if not, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so Brawl or Rush compositions are traditionally comprised of a Reinhardt and a Lucio. Although both can be replaced for other heroes, they're kind of like the poster boys for Rush. Reinhardt is great at dishing out close range damage and protecting his team whilst they move around the map, and Lucio is great for speeding the team around so they can get close to the enemy, or speeding the team out so that they can disengage or kite the enemy. It's these two heroes together that allow the Brawl composition to just drive around the map like some crazy dude out of Mad Max. The off-tank is a little bit more flexible. Zarya is the most brawly of the off-tanks because she's great at dishing out large close-range damage and can enable the Reinhardt to do the same. But D.Va, Sigma and sometimes Orisa can be substituted in depending on the map and the meta. Brawl DPS are heroes that dish out good close-range damage. Their purpose is to aid the Reinhardt in blowing up the target very quickly. Symmetra and Reaper are both really good examples, although McCree is a very common choice if you need his flashbang or mid-range hit scan ability, but a very common choice too is Mei because of her ice walls which can split up the enemy team. Click the card in the top right to learn more about Mei walls. Flex healers for Brawl are fairly flexible. Moira is a common choice because of her AoE healing, but often Baptiste or Ana are played instead. Kind of depends on the patch and the map and the meta and what the other team is running. Okay, so I mentioned in my previous video that Brawl compositions like playing together in closed areas. But what does this mean? Well, there are areas of the map that are open, like here on Eigenwald or here on Busan. Brawl compositions, generally speaking, hate areas like this because the enemy can spread all around, leaving them with little or no protection. In contrast, look at this area on Busan, this area on Temple of Anubis, and this area on Hanamura. These are all closed and it really suits Brawl heroes because the enemy is forced into close quarter engagement. On top of this, both Spam and Dive compositions perform really badly here because you don't have good sightlines or angles and are often very difficult for them to disengage from. If you are playing a Brawl based composition and are wondering where you should try and play, it is vital that you think about where in the map is open and where in the map is closed. Brawl compositions are also very capable at holding chokes. A choke just means a small or narrow entrance that the enemy, if they choose to walk through, are funneled through. There are chokes on literally every single map, such as this one on Paris, this one on Hanamura, and this one on Lijiang Tower. I'll talk more about chokes in a later video, but holding close to a choke is vital to Brawl based compositions because it forces the enemy to come close to you whilst also giving you a lot of cover. The second best thing to a choke is a corner. Corners are great because they give your backline cover and give you a chance to stabilise if you need it. Now let's completely randomly change the conversation to this fella, Lucio. He's arguably the most important member of a Rush or Brawl composition because he fundamentally changes how you play. If you have a Lucio, you are speedy. If you don't, you are, well, not speedy. With Lucio you can engage enemies quickly and you can disengage quickly, which is very important for aggressive compositions. Without a Lucio, you effectively throw away your ability to disengage from a fight, and you leave your team taking a lot of pointless damage as it tries to close the distance. This doesn't mean you actually have to have a Lucio. If you aren't planning on speeding around the place, then he's effectively useless. Substituting your Lucio for another healer is pretty common on defense if you are planning on just holding one area and letting the enemy push into you. One thing that Lucio does really help with is rotations. Think of rotations as just moving from one place to another. Brawl based compositions can rotate very fast with a Lucio, which means that they can take a lot less spam damage and make it harder for dive compositions to attack them mid rotation. I'll discuss rotations in a bit more detail in a future video, but for Brawl compositions, the pathing that they take around the map should be from corner to corner, cover to cover. If you move through an open area, you become weak to the other type of compositions. Anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm intentionally keeping these videos ultra short and basic. We will get into more advanced topics later in the series, so do stay with me. If you have any questions, then be sure to chuck them in the comments down below. If you have any advice on how to make this series more beginner friendly, then I'm all ears. The next video in this series will be on the basics of spam compositions, so be sure to check that out. But that's it for now. Bye!